In 30 days, your life could look completely different. Same city, same house, same people, different trajectory. Not because you worked 10 times harder, not because you found a secret strategy, not because you got lucky, but because you stopped tolerating one thing. Most people won't, and that's why most people repeat the same year over and over again. You're not stuck, you're structured, and the structure is the problem. And here's what makes that hard to see. The structure doesn't feel like a prison. It feels like normal. It feels like just the way things are. It feels like you, but it isn't you. It's a pattern you inherited, repeated, and eventually stopped questioning. And the first step out of it isn't action, it's awareness, seeing it clearly, calling it what it is. You don't hate your life, you just feel slightly disappointed in it. It's not dramatic, it's subtle. You wake up tired, you check your phone, you delay the hard thing, you promise tomorrow will be different, tomorrow arrives, and it looks exactly the same. There's no crisis, no rock bottom, no dramatic moment that forces your hand, just a slow, quiet accumulation of days that feel like they belong to someone else. Days where you did enough to get by, but not enough to move forward. And the dangerous thing about that kind of life is that it's comfortable enough to stay in. It doesn't hurt badly enough to leave. So you don't. You adjust. You lower the bar slightly. You tell yourself it's just a season. But seasons turn into years, and years turn into a version of yourself you don't recognize anymore. You tell yourself you need a fresh start, a new city, a new job, a new environment. But deep down, something feels off, because even when opportunities appear, you somehow recreate the same cycle. That's not coincidence, that's pattern. The problem isn't where you are. The problem is what you carry with you everywhere you go. Your habits, your defaults, your relationship with discomfort, your response to pressure. These things don't change when you buy a plane ticket. They follow you. They unpack themselves in your new apartment. They show up at your new job. They sit across from you in your new relationship. And slowly, quietly, they rebuild the same life you were trying to leave. Because the issue was never the location. It was never the job title or the city or the people. It was the internal script you were running without knowing it. The automatic responses, the invisible decisions you make before you're even fully awake. Change the location and the script follows. Change the script and everything else becomes negotiable. Most people misunderstand what starting over means. They think it requires dramatic change, move somewhere else, quit everything, cut everyone off. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If your internal structure doesn't change, you will rebuild the same life anywhere. Different walls, same procrastination. Different relationship, same insecurity. Different income, same self-sabotage. You don't rise to a new environment. You export your identity into it. That's why some people move and nothing changes, because the restart isn't external, it's structural. Let me make this uncomfortable. If your life repeated exactly as it is right now for the next 5 years, would you be proud? Or would you slowly resent yourself? Sit with that, because that discomfort is awareness trying to wake you up, and most people hit snooze for years. They stay in the job that drains them because leaving feels risky. They stay in the habit that numbs them because stopping feels hard. They stay in the version of themselves that's safe because becoming someone new feels uncertain. And every year that passes, the gap between who they are and who they know they could be grows wider, not louder, wider. And that gap has a cost. It shows up as irritability, as restlessness, as a feeling that something is missing even when everything looks fine on the outside. Your life isn't controlled by 100 habits. It's controlled by one dominant reaction. When things get uncomfortable, what do? Escape? Delay? Blame? Negotiate? Or confront? If your default is escape, your world shrinks. If your default is delay, your opportunities decay. If your default is confrontation, your identity expands.
One pattern, that's all it takes. And right now, one pattern is quietly designing your future. Most people never identify it. They stay busy enough to avoid seeing it. They fill their schedule, their feed, their mind with enough noise that the pattern never has to be faced. But the pattern keeps running, in the background, silently, shaping every decision, every relationship, every outcome. And the longer it runs unexamined, it more feels like personality, like this is just who you are. But it's not personality, it's conditioning. And conditioning can be interrupted, it can be seen, it can be named. And once you name it, it loses some of its power. Not all of it, but enough. Enough to create a pause. And in that pause lives a choice that wasn't available before, because you couldn't choose differently from something you couldn't see. Imagine two people. Both want more money, more confidence, more discipline. The first person feels discomfort and reaches for distraction. The second person feels discomfort and stays. Same pain, different response. Fast forward 5 years, one feels stuck, the other feels unstoppable. Not because of talent, because of tolerance. Your life expands to the level of discomfort you're willing to endure. That's not a motivational line, that's a structural truth. The people who build things worth having are not more gifted, they are more willing to sit inside the tension without flinching, without reaching for the exit, without negotiating themselves down to something smaller. They didn't wake up naturally immune to discomfort. They made one decision, to stop treating discomfort as a signal to retreat and start treating it as a signal to stay. That one decision changed everything. Here's the part that hurts. You already know what needs to change. You know the habit, you know the boundary, you know the excuse. You've known for a while. You don't lack clarity, you lack decision. And indecision is a decision. It's a decision to stay the same. Every day you wait is a vote for the current version of your life. Every time you delay, you are choosing this. And delay becomes a habit, a lifestyle, an identity. The weeks stack into months, the months stack into years, and at some point you stop calling it a delay and start calling it your life. That's the quiet cost of potential that never became anything. Not because it couldn't, because it kept waiting for the right moment that never arrived. If you change the pattern, the old version of you collapses, and that's terrifying, because who are you without the excuses? Who are you without the comfort? Who are you without the story of, "I'll start soon"? You're not afraid of failure, you're afraid of becoming unfamiliar. But unfamiliar is where growth lives. Every version of you that was worth becoming started out feeling strange, started out feeling too much. And that strangeness is not a warning, it's a signal. It means you are moving outside the radius of who you used to be. That discomfort is not danger, it's distance. Distance from the old pattern, distance from the old ceiling. The shift doesn't feel like a breakthrough. It feels like one quiet decision you actually kept, one standard you refused to lower. One morning you chose the hard thing when everything in you wanted the easy one, and then another, and then another. You are not far from a new life. You are one standard away, one boundary away, one disciplined response away. Not 50 changes, one structural shift. Remove the tolerance, remove the negotiation, remove the escape, and the structure shifts. And once the structure shifts, momentum begins. Not the kind of momentum that comes from a good week, the kind that comes from identity, from becoming someone who no longer recognizes the old response as an option. Someone who has repeated the new response enough times that it stopped feeling like discipline and started feeling like character. Starting over begins with refusing to tolerate weakness, refusing to delay growth, refusing to negotiate with the version of you that wants comfort over expansion. The life you want is not waiting for the perfect moment. It is waiting for a real decision, one that you make and don't walk back. One that you wake up to the next morning and honor again and again and again. until the decision stops being a decision and starts being who you are. In 30 days, your life could look completely different. Same city, same house, different identity. Choose the shift or choose repetition. But understand this, repetition is also a choice, and the structure is yours.